Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to check out another of these beautiful Kayakasaurus models that I purchased off of him quite a little ways back. This is the Allosaurus, and it is a really cool looking interpretation of an Allosaurus on his part. This is actually the first theropod that I've had of his to review here on the channel, so I'm really excited about that as well. The model actually came with no paint on it whatsoever besides a single color, and then I of course had to paint it up myself. You can do that yourself, you can paint them yourself, or you can actually keep them with no paint on them, because then they kind of almost have like an Invicta type of a feel, which is really quite cool. But I chose to paint mine and painted up the base and everything that comes with it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get a closer look right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the model, as you can see, this Allosaurus is quite small overall, so that head is very small as well, which is one thing that's kind of convenient for these models, because with them being not so large, they're not as hard to paint. There's a lot less paint you have to use, a lot less time that will go into them, but again, they are still very highly detailed, so a lot of detail can be brought out with a nice careful paint job. This is of course what I came up with as far as the paint job for mine. Yours can look however you would like, but you can see that the crests are sculpted out really quite nicely up here on the top of the head. You can also see the nostrils sculpted there, and the eye. The eye itself is sculpted, as well as the eye socket quite beautifully elaborated there. And the skin texture in the face as well is really nicely done. Beautifully sculpted as far as that nice texturing to the skin, and you can see the teeth themselves as well are actually present in the sculpt. The Allosaurus is sculpted with its mouth closed, which I do actually quite like, because I feel like it's a nice natural looking position for the Allosaurus to be just kind of walking along. It would probably not be running around with its mouth wide open, so it makes 100% sense for the positioning of the body, the nice relaxed pose that we have for the Allosaurus, for it to as well have its mouth closed. As you start to lead down into the neck, you can see a really nicely sculpted out neck for the Allosaurus, as well as some nice creasing going on right there. You can see the throat here on the underside of the Allosaurus is present. Beautiful texturing again to the top of the body here. You can see that I've attempted to bring out some of that detail nicely with a dry brushing, and you can see how that detail pops so beautifully because of the really nice work on the part of Kayakasaurus. Coming down here into the body, you can see that really nice looking arm sculpt for the Allosaurus. Again, beautiful textured appearance to the skin. As we move down into the hands are also really nicely sculpted. As far as like the fingers and everything, the nails are really nicely sculpted as well. They genuinely have a sharp look to them, so it helps to add to the overall realism of the model. More beautiful texturing to the stomach region back here of the Allosaurus. You can also see a little bit of girth in the stomach, so it looks nice and healthy. Coming up into the legs, you can see some really nice muscle tone for both the thigh and calf. The calf isn't so incredibly defined as far as the musculature goes, but I do like that actually. It doesn't mean that the dinosaur was hitting the gym every day, I guess, so a potentially realistic aspect of the figure as well. You can see the kneecap is present there, and you can also see a really nice foot sculpt. The Kayakasaurus models are really impressive to me, just based on the fact that, just like with Alex Kendrick, Rodrigo Rivas, Marco Makes, like those guys all create the models themselves, and that's exactly what we have here with these Kayakasaurus models. They're created entirely by him, sculpted by him, and sold by him. So that's a really impressive amount of work to put on one person. You can kind of see the skin stretching off of the body a little bit there as that leg is pulling forward. Some beautiful detailing here on the underside of the Allosaurus as well. And then we lead out the length of the tail. The tail looks great, really nice, very realistic and natural looking curve to the tail for sure. You can see the dew claw actually right there. Didn't point that out previously. And then looking at the opposing side, you're not going to see too much over here in comparison to what we had just seen on the previous side, because the Allosaurus isn't in any type of like a crazy dramatic position. For the most part, it's just in a very neutral position almost with the way it's walking, except the legs are in slightly different positions, the arms are in slightly different positions, and the head has a turn to the right slightly. But you can see again the really nice detailing of the face and the head area. There we go, it focused a little better there, and as well as of course the teeth sculpted out there, the crests up on the top of the head. The crests even sport some really nice impressive detailing in them. And then coming back into the neck, again some more really nice creasing and everything in the skin of the neck. You also can see the throat yet again over here on this side, coming down into the body. The very beautiful looking arm sculpt, some creases right there at the joint of the arm, really nicely sculpted out hands and nails yet again. And then you can see some more gorgeous detailing here in the stomach region, as well as that leg kind of pulling back, stretching the skin right there from the stomach region, again showing some of the movement of the Allosaurus. The texturing in the skin of the stomach is really beautifully done as well. Again, you can see how I've brought some of the detail out with that nice dry brushing, and that's definitely something that I feel like is a very important aspect to painting your models, is giving them a little bit of a dry brushing, making that detail pop quite nicely, and just showing off how much incredible work the artist put into the figure. And you can again see here on the leg the really nice creasing in the back of the leg, coming all the way down into the calf region, really nice creasing in the joint of the knee as well. And then there is that beautiful foot sculpt, yet again, just like we had seen on the previous side. Now you can see the dew claw on the opposing foot right there. And then we come back up into the tail. Again, that really nice curve to the tail, ever so slight bend right there. Beautiful looking for sure. Absolutely love this Allosaurus from Kayakasaurus. And we also have a base right here. And the base is very small. It's nothing crazy, nothing over the top. It's just basically a little earthy area with the footprints of the Allosaurus, and they match up beautifully. Nice, smooth underside as well. And nothing, again, that's over the top and crazy. It's a very small base just to help your dinosaur with some stability. Mine actually doesn't stay on the base. When I set it on the base, it tends to fall over, so I'm going to glue mine to the base, which I was going to do anyway, but I wanted to wait until the review of the figure was over so that I could take that nice closer look at the figure overall without this base kind of coming with it. But a really nice earthy area overall for the base of this Allosaurus. There's actually another base, an alternate base that has kind of like a stream bed type of an area, but I'm actually going to use that base for the Irritator model that I got from Kayakasaurus, so this base is going to stick with the Allosaurus. As far as a size goes on our Allosaurus for a length, you are looking at a little over the 8-inch range, maybe approaching 8¼ inches, or about the 20.5, 21 centimeter range, somewhere in that vicinity. And then for a height, the highest point would be the head, and you're looking at a little over 2.5 inches, or about 6.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Peppo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Glovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our Kayakasaurus Allosaurus, and you can definitely see next to these guys here that the Allosaurus does sport a smaller size overall, but it's a very convenient size because it's something that you can own and add to your collection without taking up too much room overall. He's very likely to fit in almost any nook and cranny, that's for sure, and that is, again, another very appealing factor to this, as you can have a really beautiful, really highly detailed Allosaurus in your collection without taking up too much room. So this Kayakasaurus Allosaurus, the Protocasts Allosaurus, is a beautiful figure. I think it's a toss-up between this and the Terror Bird that I had reviewed from him and purchased from him as to which is my favorite. I'm not entirely sure. I really like this Allosaurus, but I also really like the Terror Bird, so it's just kind of a toss-up between which one I would say is my favorite. But this Allosaurus, again, is really, really well done. It's actually one of the first sculpts from Kayakasaurus that I had ever seen, so it's very cool to have that sculpt now in my collection, as it's kind of what introduced me to Kayakasaurus in the first place, was his video on this Allosaurus. And I actually believe I had seen a Spino Dude video of the Allosaurus initially as well, where he had received one. So it's kind of what grew my interest in purchasing one, was seeing those videos, and definitely happy to have purchased one, definitely happy to now have one in my collection. It's a really nice look for the Allosaurus, very nice and natural looking positioning for the body, as it's just kind of standing there. It doesn't look like it's any kind of like a crazy dynamic position, nothing off the wall, just a really nice relaxing view of an Allosaurus, and I do quite like that aspect of the model. Overall, it is absolutely overloaded with beautiful detail, really nice skin texture, and really nice sculpt and detail overall as far as the figure goes. It's very highly detailed, pretty much like every single one of Kayakasaurus models always are. Everyone that I've ever purchased from him so far has been absolutely gorgeous detail-wise, and this Allosaurus is definitely no slouch in the detail department. Of course, the paint application is really up to you. It's your call how you would like to paint it. This one, of course, was my decision as far as how I wanted to paint it, and I'm actually really quite happy with it overall. I think the paint job that I gave it turned out really nicely, and it actually looks quite good overall, quite natural on the figure, and that's not something I can often say about my paint jobs, as I'm not normally happy with them, so I'm really happy that this one I actually am happy with. And that may be mostly due to the incredible sculpt and detail on the part of Kayakasaurus. So the figure is so good, it pretty much paints itself. So if you would like to pick one of these up, make sure you head on over to Instagram and contact Kayakasaurus to find out about availability for the model, or you can contact me and I can attempt to contact him for you. I tried his Etsy store recently. It wasn't working for me, so I don't know if maybe that's an issue with me personally. Maybe it's back up. I'm not entirely sure, but just in case, I will attempt to link the Etsy store in the description, but again, otherwise, your best bet on purchasing one may potentially just be contacting Kayakasaurus himself. But otherwise, again, a beautiful model from Kayakasaurus, a really, really nice Allosaurus. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.